Um, these are my answers for week 7 discussion board prompt. Um, we have two prompts. The first one is carefully, with precision, describe what you take to be the most significant, attractive feature of male's qualitative hedonic act you. And number two, carefully, with precision, describe what you take to be the most significant problem facing male's uh, qualitative hedonic act you. So let's start with the first one. Um, what I find attractive about Act U, I will repeat U a lot because that word is kind of hard for me to say. Um, Utilitarianism. What I find attractive about it is that it relies on experts. If we go back to the video of Male on minute 12, second 56, we see how we rely on experts for us to deduce whether or not this decision is possible. And that's totally fine. Um, we want to rely on people that have experienced certain stuff already, correct? Um, just like our parents, for example. Um, Personally, I tend to ask my dad a lot of questions about, hey, should I do this or not? Right? He has some experience from when he was 22 years old on what things should I, do or not based off the consequences that he suffered. And so that's very attractive, right? Having a strong foundation or someone that you can rely on that has experienced both uh, scenarios, right? Of, hey, this is what happens when you do this for good, and this is what happens when you do this for bad. That is what I find attractive about, Act U in Mill's points of perspective. Now, the significant problem that I find with Mill's point of perspective on Act U is we're not going to be able to please everyone, right? We're not going to be able to please the whole entire world based off our own opinions. There are people that find certain things, um, plausible to them. For example, this is a very mean demonstration, but there are people that find killing others plausible, right? It's very obvious to see it in school shootings, for example. People want to get attention one way or another, right? Or they just want to do pure evil. Um, just because they felt pleasure on doing those things, right? Um, does that mean it's the best option? Does that mean it's the best choice to do whenever, for example, someone wants to take revenge, right? And so that's the most significant problem I see with, Mill's qualitative hedonic act utilitarianism. And on minute 124 from the video evaluating act utilitarianism, um, there's a good argument that says uh, objection one, impossible calculation, right? This is paraphrasing what Professor Mason said, but essentially in that timestamp, it says choosing the option that will bring the most happiness, but the world is just so complicated. How would we know people accept this, right? There are so many different opinions out there. Just because this specific action brings pleasure to this specific person does not mean everyone else is going to agree with that. And so it's a matter of just not being reliable enough to satisfy um, a whole population. And so those are my points of view on this uh, week's discussion board prompt. And thank you for listening.